Hey punters, welcome to Tipster. This is our July edition. I've got Mick Gannon here to my right. How are you, Mick?
Doing well, Damo. Certainly is July, all rugged up, plenty of rain about, and here we are.
Absolutely. It's ghastly out there in Sydney town. But here we are in studio to tell you all about the punters who are doing well and who to keep your eye on. Obviously, Mick, coming into spring, very important time indeed. This is the time where you want to see who is going well. Interestingly enough, there's some well-known faces who are just putting the wins together. And they're the ones you want to know about.
Absolutely. And all you got to do, search, go to thegreattipoff.com, go to the search bar, and away you go. Any of the tipsters we mentioned today, get around it, and you'll be in for a good July.
Absolutely. And look, thinking about racing, Queensland Carnival has come to an end.
It's over.
And what do we do when the winter carnival's over? We turn our eyes to spring. And it's not
far away now.
It's not far away. And as we know,
good horses are back in work.
They're back in work. And August will start to see more and more happen. So it's a very exciting time. And look, getting ahead of the curve here, we've put together the top contenders, at least in the team's view.
Yep.
For who will
Luke Hobanesian's view.
Luke Hobanesian's view.
So if you don't like it, spray him.
Well, you know, got some quality control from a couple of blokes on the mic here, but...
Oh, dear. Not me.
Not you? Okay, well, this is the point we're coming to. I mean, this is the view. Here's a market on who's going to get horse of the spring. If you think there's a horse who's not on this list, who's Luke missed? Tell him personally. Type it in there. Luke, you're kidding. You've missed... because he's pretty confident he's got the top horses on the board.
Not bad.
And Mick, I'd be asking you, firstly, the horses that you back, are they on the board? And if they are, who are you backing?
You know, I guess you're going to result what's on the board, right? So you can't throw you didn't have an other there. So that's a bit of...
All right, well then you know, if you want to go...
Is there another?
If you go other, so you
right,
think
so
that one of these won't get it?
I have VS Sistina to win 10,000, so that'll be good. Yeah. As far as the 3-year-olds go, the soon-to-be 3-year-olds go, you've got Nepotism, Autumn Boy, and Central Coast out of left field. Those, probably Central Coast more out of left field. They both come out of Central Coast, and Autumn Boy, I speak of, come out of a Canterbury maiden. I think they're both going to be very, very good horses. They'll both be competitive in guineas, whether it's Caulfield Guineas, Randwick Guineas, both trained by Chris Waller, so you suspect he'll split them. Nepotism, of course, another horse will be very competitive, 1,400 metres and beyond, potentially another Guineas horse as well. Any of those three could be very competitive in those 3-year-old races. Anything over 1,400 metres, slightly now. VS is staying clearly on top, and if you have to take a 3-year-old, I would go with Nepotism, but just.
There we go. Mix early mail, earlier than early. For the spring, just before we wrap into it, and look, by the way, let us know who your horse is for the spring. Get ahead of the curve. Tell us if we've missed one, and post it under here, obviously, on YouTube, in the comments section. But just before we go, Mick, we always talk about the early crow, and there was one that popped up.
You've been guilty of that a few times.
Oh, mate, terrible. You're the curse on the early crow, without doubt. A jockey called Leonardo Henrique in Brazil. This is the Melbourne Cup in Brazil. If you want to see an early crow, mate, on a horse called Sincel, have a look at this one. Going along. Looks like
home and hose.
What's on the inside? Stands up.
Is that a couple of bin chickens on the inside?
Yeah.
He stands up out of his eyes.
You can forgive him if...
his eyes, I should say.
You can forgive him if...
That's outstanding.
Miles away, but but guess what? He gets the chocolates by a nod. Like if it's
a yard out, he's been beat. That's super. Well, it's probably the best celebration I've ever seen. Yeah. Potentially could have been the worst, but given the horse won the race, the best.
Are the owners slipping him a few bucks in the mounting yard when he dismounts?
No, they're nothing. I reckon.
But hey, punters, we've got the best tipsters in June coming up, so don't go away.
Tipster of the month for the month of June, Damo, and this is overall. This is not just tipsters, punters, media. This is everybody on top. Where best bets 84, assuming that's a birth year. Younger than me, and that's just strong profit on turnover.
It is. Interestingly, from New South Wales, but just tips in England.
As you do.
I don't know. Maybe he's just migrated. He goes the intel.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it is, but it works. And again, like if you're looking for someone to follow, you're up, you're on the punt, you flick over, got the races on. Best bets 84.
the pro status as well. So that is not a fluke. Shane Coombs there in second position, normally with 78% profit on turnover. You think you're absolutely home and hosed. Turns out you're not in the month of June.
No, look, 4 winning weeks in a row too. Like, we always like those stats. That just tells you it's not a flash in the pan, knows what he's doing. I'll tell you what else I like, Mick. He focuses on Vic and SA only. Again, we know that horses will tend to fluctuate between those two states. So he's obviously got his eyes on, reduced variables. That's the way I'd say it, and it's working. So Shane Combs, and look him up in the search bar at greattipOff.com. No space, all one word. You can just put in Shane. It'll show you anyone starting with Shane, all that sort of stuff in the search.
Things you like.
You won't miss him.
Speaking of fast cars, Bentley. I didn't have enough room to park my car down below because your Bentley was in the way. But in third there, pro status. Also, someone else lucky not to get the job done with 73%, but in third and 6 winners over $8 is a Bentley.
Yeah, another one with 3 winning weeks in a row. Tips all over Australia. So unlike Shane, this guy's a bit more broader in his view, but certainly got the runs on the board. 73% pot off your regulation 40. Got to be happy with that. $8.65 average price. It's always interesting, Mick. Typically, it's very rare you'll see anyone under about $5. You got an average price, and that's sung true again in June.
And speaking of going on with the theme of Damo, Dragons 26. You can't help about luck. Dragons 26 with a profile, not with a name like that, a username like that, but at least your tipping form's better than your footy side.
Well, they had a win on the weekend.
Did they?
Yes.
They played the bye?
They played Parramatta.
Which, may as well play the bye.
Is interesting.
Yeah.
But, we don't know if he is a Dragons supporter or if he just likes Dragons.
Maybe likes the pokies, like the 5 Dragons.
There we go. Now you're teaching me something.
Yeah.
But look, 9 winning days in a row. I mean, he's actually 9 winning days in a row. The guys,
huge,
before we came
airborne,
heard him giving him a big rap, this guy. So, again, Dragons 26 in the search bar. Look, the numbers look amazing. 63% off 129 tips. Now, that is some serious, accurate punting.
Dragons 26, Parramatta nil. Is this sort of what we're thinking?
It wasn't quite like that.
Okay.
It was at half time, actually. It was 26-4, I think. But we did the old choke and then nearly got out of jail. I think it was a close line call that got us out of trouble.
So you finally got a ref call.
Finally got a ref call.
Okay.
There we go.
All right, in fifth there, the Bear, the man from Tasmania, my man, Nessian Track. He does a bit of work down there. He's a good man. Does plenty of coaching of the, I think I call it, is it the VFL or the AFL version, whatever they play down there. But he's a good man, the Bear, and he just dominates proceedings.
Focused on Tassie, right?
Again and again. Tassie racing.
Yeah, I love, and I know someone as well does very well in Tassie, and he's from Tassie, and gosh, you got to love that. Couple of racetracks,
pretty easy stuff.
They can't swim too far, so
how bad are the bookies going then?
Yeah.
Hey,
see someone just betting in Tasmania, you're probably going to set a different market.
I love your work there. Absolutely low flying. That is your top 5 for the month of June. Tipster of the Month Media Edition for June, Damo, and there's some familiar faces in the top 5 there. But, kicking off on top, the clear winner, Steve Christie, Sky Racing, 56% profit on turnover.
Yeah, and look, guess where he tips? Tassie. Tassie Racing.
There it is.
It is again.
The bookies are in all sorts of Tassie.
You can just see a bunch of punters just say, right, that's it. Stuff Sydney.
I'm done.
Stuff Melbourne.
Well, Damo loves Tassie as well. I always hear him mention he loves Tassie, so he's another one that likes to go a bit wide.
Yeah, Brad Damo.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. Get Brad giving us a few thoughts on that one. Why he goes there, but clearly probably some of the...
You've answered it already, haven't you? Like,
I have.
Simple as that. St. Paul horses, week in, week out. I think they race on the synthetic every second week at the moment on a Sunday, so things are pretty, cut and paste. What you get is what you get, and it's easy sort of base to work off. But in second there, the Salts.
Yeah,
the Sultan is back.
He's back.
He's been long overdue, the Sultan. It's good to see him back, though. He's sitting second, 49% profit in turnover. Fly.
Do you remember the days when all these tips went on to X?
Some of the lyrical genius Salts.
Yeah. And he was. There were people just hanging off him.
Dominating.
Hanging.
I'm sure they still are.
I'm sure they still are.
He's a good-looking rooster as well. I'm sure they'll be hanging off him at a local cafe.
Sure they are. Sure they are. So, who's next, Mick?
Oh, you want someone else?
Someone else.
Chris Schultz.
Chris Schultz.
Third.
Yeah, racing and sports. Good guy, Chris. He's another busy guy, involved with all sorts of racing authorities and so forth. I understand he's on the Gold Coast these days, old Chris. And
Tough.
he does a good job, and it's no surprise to see him in the top 5. 43% pot off 76 tips. That's a decent number. And not a bad average price there at $4.54.
DS, not only do you find him in all the pubs in the country, New South Wales on a Saturday, but you also find him hosting on Sky in the mornings, and he's doing a fantastic job for 40% profit on turnover.
There's a story here with DS.
Now, and before we go any further, there was a rugby league sort of team that went out with DS.
Yeah.
And you guys put DS at centres, and I was in the second row. And I thought, oh, shit, I'm going to be doing a lot of work tonight. There's a lot of work to be done covering DS. Anyway, that's a side story.
DS likes being in the centres.
I'm going to chat with the selectors.
But here's an interesting one, Mick, because, of course, David Stanley was a great performer in May.
Yes.
In our last program, we had him lined up to come in and give us a free tip, which he's looking to do this week. And he contacted me and said, look, mate, I'm absolutely crook as. If you really need me to, I'll get it. But if not, I can do it next month. And I said, mate, if you do it next month, you got to perform.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Stood up.
He pointed at the stadiums.
Yeah.
He said, I'll knock it out of the park again.
There you go.
Here we go.
He's done
it. He's done it again. I put a note out to Gerald Middleton and the boys over there at the Big Sports Breakfast that they struggle with their multi over there. Come on, boys, at the Big Sports Breakfast. You struggle with your multi. Why wouldn't Dave Stanley be in the multi? Why wouldn't he have a permanent leg? That's 2 months in a row, top 5 or thereabouts.
Start the petition.
What else
DS on the multi.
Yeah, the stats prove it, don't they?
Yeah.
Here he is, second month. Come on, Dave, make the case. You've got to be on that pro. He comes in a bit early to give the what's ahead sort of bit.
Yeah.
Why can't he be part of the Big Sports?
He deserves it.
Multi?
He deserves it.
He does. Come on, Middo. Time to roll, and the team over there, it's time. Well, he's coaching at the moment.
Oh, there you go.
Loz's out of action.
Yep.
Time
for DS to stand up. In fifth there, Michael Kruse from Kruzey.
Yeah, Kruzey, good bloke,
yeah.
Michael, and does a good job and has a good website there, the Kruzey, I think it's called. Good on you, Mike. And 33% pot is nothing to be sneezed at. I love his average price, over $7. Like, you got to be loving that.
Super stuff.
Got to be loving that. Remember, that's starting price, Mick. So, as we know, these guys are usually smarter than the average bear, and that means that their prices are likely to be coming in from when they tip them. So, you can normally add a bit onto that. So, he's doing a good job there.
Doing a good job. That is Tipster of the Month media for June.
Mick, it's that time of the show again where we give punters free horse racing tips. That's what we're here about. And of course, these aren't just any free horse racing tips. These are from tipsters who have had a good June and have got momentum coming into July. Let's kick it off. First cab off the rank, we spoke to him, of course, from Sky Racing, Dave Stanley. Dave, what have you got for us for the weekend?
G'day guys, Dave Stanley from Sky Sports Radio and Racing HQ. Thanks to the great tip-off for the love and support. What do they say though? A broken clock is twice a day right. So look, it's been a good couple of weeks, but it probably could go pretty pear-shaped. You can catch my tips in the Sydney Morning Herald. I love doing the form each week. And my best bet, I spoke with David Pfeiffer on my radio program this week, and he said that Win Chat is going to go very well, and I think it'll go very, very well in the Winter Stakes there at Rose Hill on Saturday. So Win Chat, my best of the weekend. Good luck if you're having a punt. If you want to follow the tips, as I said in the Herald, you can follow them. You can either follow them and cheer them on, or you can put a big red line through them and the ones not to back. But have a good weekend, everyone, and I hope you win plenty on the punt.
Next up, we spoke to him, Michael Kruse from Kruzey.com.au. I'm pretty sure it is. Here's his best bet for the weekend. Who you got for us, Mike?
G'day guys, Michael Kruse from Kruzey here. For those of you that don't know me, I specialise in Victorian horse racing with a strong emphasis on sectional data and how horses are likely to perform off that data at their next start. In terms of a best bet for the weekend, well, it's going to be interesting to see how the track plays with all the rain we've had the last 2 days, but I thought running by in the last race at Flemington was a great chance. It's race 9, number 1. She comes into this race third up, where she's actually never lost. And her last start effort at Sandown was quite good in a much stronger race. They went above benchmark early and she was consistent through the line. She's since had a 21-day break between runs, which looks ideal to peak off. She'll have a positive map, and Johnny Allen takes the steer, who actually rode her to her latest victory, or her last victory, at Flemington. At around $8, I thought she presented a nice betting opportunity on a 1x4 basis. If you want to find all my tips and analysis, you can do that over at kruzey.com.au. And yeah, cheers. Good luck on the weekend, guys.
All right, well, that's a wrap, punters. And hey, look, hopefully you got some great information there for the weekend and for the future carnival, spring carnival coming up. Just before we get into our close, we do have another funny, Mick, talking about race callers blowing up. There was a cracker in Kilkenny not so long ago, just a week or so ago, where, look, maybe we should just listen to it. Clearly, the race caller had a bit of a challenge.
Absolutely diabolical that the scaffoldings run to right in front of the camera view here. Starter comes around, though, to check them over. Here's on the move at Kilkenny. 9-4 co-favourites, 3, 4 and 5 here. Hey Prosecco, Comer Shark and Hey Sid. Here we're approaching. Often racing at Kilkenny. What a joke this is. Well, 1, 2, 6, 3, 4 and 5 the order. Into that first bend we go, and it's 1 Ring Robbie from the 2 Yacht Tom. 6 in third, a bait. Then we got 4, 5 and 3 out the back, but it's still the 1 Ring Robbie from 2 Yacht Tom. 4 making headway now. Comer Sharkin is running on strongly. It's 2 from 1 off. What a joke this is. It's 2 from 1 and 4 up the straight. 2 wins at Yacht Tom.
Well, that's as good as it gets. You love that. You gotta love a race called blowing up. And yeah. I'll tell you what, you'd be furious. To be fair, you quite frankly couldn't see anything. It's a disaster.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And look, we had one the other week. I mean, did you hear David Fowler? I'm not sure if he had a penny on it. Can't remember the horse, but there was a favourite there in Brisbane and tailed off.
Blew up, did he?
Absolutely went ballistic.
Love it.
Went ballistic, and it reminds me of some and yesteryear when I was a young lad, and you remember some of the Sydney callers just going off their nut with favourites. I remember there was that other one too with Manto not so long ago. A streaker came on the
Manto gave the streaker a spray, and he gave rightfully so as well.
Rightfully so.
Oh, that's it.
But that was valuable too. So we love these race calls. I mean, if there's any other race caller classics that you guys can think of, let us know in the comments. We'd love to bring them in. Maybe some of the race callers can tell us or remind us of some of their classics. But yeah, we do like it because we hear them so sort of formal on the race call. It's good to hear that they're human. I know that Darren Flindell's never short of putting his view on a few things, which adds value. But certainly his little improvising towards the end of the race, you've got to love that. There's obviously a few puns that get thrown in there. But Mick, that's a wrap. Obviously, what do? You like this? There's a little bell. Like, subscribe. The YouTube channel, so you'll know. That's it.
Like, subscribe.
You'll know as soon as the show drops. Of course, as we come into spring, Mick, of course.
Not far away.
We're not far away from.
I'll dust off Watling and I'll dust off Willoughby. We'll find them somewhere, wherever they've been, and we'll get them going again for All In. That'll start in the spring. So I'd say September time we'll be off and racing with that when the Group 1 racing returns.
The only way you'll know about it is to subscribe. Remember, all the information for all the tipsters you can think of is at thegreattipoff.com. Come to the side, go to the search bar, put the name of the tipster in, and you'll find out all the information we're giving you here. Until next time, Mick.
See ya.
See ya.